Welcome to Broke Teachers Travel. I'm Marnie,
And I'm Jeff.
and today we're talking about traveling during the holidays. That's right, the holidays are quickly approaching. We have 38 days until Thanksgiving, 63 days until Hanukkah, and 70 days until Christmas. I can't believe it. It is sneaking up quickly, but not
quickly
enough.
enough. Right, absolutely. So any teacher or retired teacher
We're counting the days.
or parent or kid understands
Yes,
that.
absolutely.
So when we're talking about traveling, as always, plan ahead, months
Yes.
in advance if possible. And it gets for a number of reasons. The big reason is that if life gets in the way, throws you a curveball. If you've planned months out, you have time to pivot and still go on a different vacation.
And holidays are just hectic anyway.
Right.
Plan ahead.
And one of my favorite times is, as we look at the Thanksgiving holidays, people do travel a lot during that. So for teachers, I know we're at my school, we get a week off. And so
Some get just a couple of days.
And so that could be anywhere between, a 5-day weekend to 9 days in a row. And 9 days is enough to go
get
somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And along the same travel lines, remember if you're driving, a lot of people do road trips during the holidays. Budget extra for gas. It tends to be higher around holidays. And, just in general, peak seasons like, summer, spring break, any of those, but especially the holidays, it seems like it goes up a little bit.
They absolutely do. So again, if you have, credit cards that give you reward points or things like
Grocery
that.
store
Grocery
rewards.
stores. I know our daughter does.
She's got to quit calling and telling me that she saved $1 a gallon on gas.
And I just filled up my Jeep today, and
It hurts.
it hurts. But absolutely. So again, plan that ahead. So if you have, I know that you have this little savings kind of deal that you kick back a little bit for those kind of things.
Yes.
If you're going to fly somewhere, internationally or domestically, buy your tickets. I want to say as early as possible. There's generally a sweet spot in there at about 3 months. Okay.
Which is enough time to plan for the holidays.
Right. And so, kind of look at that, shop around, see if you belong to any of the, and eventually we will start suggesting some of these sites, because I know I have a couple where we booked our trip to.
We just want to make sure everything is legitimate legitimately as good as we think it is before we pass this on to you guys, because we want you guys to know that you can trust our opinion on stuff.
And we're trying a new site that actually let us book round trip tickets to Florence, Italy for under $1,000 for both of us.
Yeah, for both of us.
Which is absolutely crazy. So, but again, just make sure that you do that. Also, make sure that you buy travel insurance.
So important.
That is one of the things that I've had to twice over the last decade, actually file a claim, and they were really good about getting it back. Some of those companies, especially during COVID, the company that I booked my tour with, I still haven't heard back from. And my insurance company wrote me a check, maybe 3 weeks after I filed the claim.
Yeah, I was shocked at how quickly you got that back.
And we were talking about the new type of insurance. It may not be new, it's new to us, that maybe, and we're going to review it, that you could buy travel insurance for the entire year, just like you would life insurance, health insurance.
So it's kind of like a prepaid plan.
Right.
Or like a subscription almost?
Right, absolutely.
Wow, that's kind of cool. That's a cool concept. So we'll investigate that a little more and let you guys know what we find out, because it could be a money saver.
And I know that it is actually one of the companies that I've filed a claim with. I can't remember off the top of my head. I should, because I really, like my money. But would
you like to save it a lot?
But I was kind of surprised by it that they offer that. And so if you get that package, it's like domestic. So if it's a road trip, a vacation, or
it covers road trips.
Yeah, and so any of those, anything that's X number of miles from your home, I think is the way. Yeah. So
okay, that's very intriguing. I'm interested to know how that works.
Go ahead.
We'll pass that one along.
Okay.
As soon as we find out more about it. And remember, when you're traveling, if you are doing a road trip, reserve your rental car ahead of time, because believe it or not, they sometimes run out of vehicles. It has happened. We've had it happen to us. Thankfully, we didn't have to wait more than a few hours to get one, but they do run out, especially if you're not in a really big area.
And even if you are in those touristy areas, like we're in a pretty touristy area here in the Panhandle of Florida, but I have a friend that manages the Avis rental car place, and I've talked to him numerous times, just at the car dealership, talking to him, or the rental place, and I'd hear him on the phone. Nope, we're out of cars. No, we're out of cars, and there's none in the lot, and generally there's 50 or 100 cars, and so spring break, those peak times, they always do that. Also, one of the advantages is those rental cars, they have roadside assistance and things like that.
But be careful, read it carefully, because we have had an issue with a tire before that blew out on us, and they tried to charge our credit card. And it was a whole ordeal. We had to file all these claims and everything. It was a big fiasco. So do read carefully the fine print.
Right. Absolutely. Always read the fine print.
Yes.
Another thing that I like to do is, I like to get any trip in that I can. But the day before you go back to work, I'll try to get in. If I've got to go to work on a Monday, I try to get in on that Saturday, so I could get in and have that Saturday night and that Sunday to reacclimate and get ready. Because you hear people all the time say, I need a vacation from my vacation.
Yes.
And
you don't want that. What's the point?
You want to have, a great time, enjoy things, but you want that 1 day buffer. At least that's been my experience.
Yeah. And especially during the holidays, allow that, because as much fun as they are, the holidays are a little stressful, and you need that little bit of extra downtime. But you also need to allow that time in case there are layovers, flight delays, or like we said, they're out of vehicles and you have to wait for one, and you're, at the airport waiting for it, things like that. Just allow a little buffer there.
There is always that option that they did in Home Alone, where you can rent the van with the polka the rental van, and go back. But I don't suggest that, because you never know what kind of polka group you're going to get with.
Exactly. They may not be as nice. Now, remember the main thing during the holidays, and we talk about this all the time, but especially during the holidays. Pack your patience. Be nice to the people who are working. They are trying their best to get you and your family to wherever you're going. They want to be home with their families as well. And when people are yelling at them, it does not make the whole experience nice for anyone. So be patient with everyone, your fellow travelers, the people who are working. Just be nice.
And that's one of the big things. And Marnie and I, both being former Disney employees, sometimes that's a hard thing for those employees to keep their cool about.
They get yelled at all day, and it's
and I can tell you, being a Karen never helps any situation.
No.
They may pay you lip service or whatever, but they're not going to try to get. I mean, that's just kind of human nature. What I have found is, I had a couple of levels of frustration in my final trip from. Where was I coming back from?
Turkey.
Yeah, so I was coming back from Boston to Atlanta, and there were some issues with one of the passengers being a Karen and not doing what they were asked to do, and I was getting more and more frustrated. And this flight attendant said, "Hey, just and not that I was being a Karen, but I was frustrated." And she saw that, and she says, "Hey," and I said, "Well, I'm going to miss my flight, my connecting flight. It's the last one. I want to get home." And this Delta employee went out of her way to make sure that when I got there, they had someone there at the gate to take me in the little tram thing.
Because you were nice to her.
And I mean, I wrote a letter to Delta and shout out to Delta for that service.
Yeah. When you're nice to these people, they're nice to you. It's just, like Jeff said, human nature. I mean, be kind.
Yep.
Just be kind across the board. We talked about this one the other day.
Yeah, always about the hookup. I always tell any of my former students will say, Coach Skipper always says, life's about the hookup and who you know. So it's about networking. It's about looking for deals. So teacher discounts are often out there. Military discounts.
First
responders, any of those groups, there's usually some kind of discount out there. If you, and I hate to say this, but we started getting some of those magazines as you get older and older, for retirement age and things like that. that they offer discounts too.
Yes.
And so, again, you may not think about it, but, 10% here, 15% here,
It adds up.
it definitely adds up. And so if you take advantage of all of those,
Not just when you travel,
Right.
all the time,
Right.
because you can use that money to travel.
and that's one thing we talk about here sometimes is that, if that dinner was normally going to cost you $30 and it only cost you 20, take that $10, put it in your little envelope or your travel stash fund or whatever. Because you're going to spend that money anyway. So might as well, put it on the
Make
backside.
use of it.
Right.
And, yeah, use it for something you're excited to do. Remember, if you're traveling to a theme park and your child sees something that they like or that, you can't get at home and you buy it, remember you can ship it home. And that's important because you can save that for a holiday gift or a birthday gift. And it's already there waiting for you when you get back, and you don't have to lug it around.
I have to be honest. I've done that a couple of times when I was overseas. I'd sent something back, just because I didn't want to have to fool it with, bringing it through, customs and everything with
Yeah.
me and checking it in a bag. So just send it back.
Exactly. It has multiple benefits. Not only do you not have to carry it, you don't have to worry about getting it back through the airport and things like that. It's just an easier way. It may cost a few dollars extra, but it's worth it in the end because you're not having to deal with all the hassles.
And one of the things that I've noticed, and not that I'm a big wine drinker, but I've noticed that things like wine and honey and things like that you have to put in your check bags, we're not professionals at
Packing.
at packing that stuff, okay?
Yeah.
And so inevitably in a big airport, I always see, people when they go get their bags, there to be a big stain there or something. But if you're, for example, in Italy and buy stuff at a winery, just, pay the international shipping
Yeah.
and have it shipped because they know how to ship stuff.
But do know, international shipping is pricey.
It is pricey, but
But it can be worth it. Just go ahead and build it into your trip.
Right.
Go ahead and save for it. Put a little aside because it can be worth it.
Yeah, because if olive oil spills in your suitcase and ruins
Oh,
everything, then you don't
yeah.
have the olive oil, you don't have the clothes or whatever else was in there. So again, like Marnie says, it can be pricey, but those folks over there, they want you to have their product.
Yes.
They want you to experience that,
And it's authentic.
and they're going to show generally the cheapest way to do that.
Yes, they will. They're very helpful about that.
Right, and even if you do put it in your check bag, ask them how is the best way to do that. Because I did that with the olive oil I brought back a couple years ago, and they told me how to pack and actually gave me some packing stuff to put it in, to better my chances. But going back to this, Marnie said about the theme parks and things like that. They have all sorts of delivery services
Yes.
that they can do.
100%. I know especially Disney does because, we have experience
Right.
with them. So we know that they do that, and you can actually have your stuff delivered to guest relations and they will take it to your hotel as well, which is helpful.
Other things, pack an extra change of clothes. If you are a check bag person, the last bag I checked, it got lost, and I remember why I don't do that. But it's okay. But
We got it back.
Yeah, we got it back. But in your carry-on, I would always say put a couple of days worth of clothes in there. It happened to me one time. I got snowed in Paris, and I did have clothes, but I would always tell you this: pack a pair of long pants, a pair of shorts, and a hoodie. That because it gets cold in the airports.
Extra shirts.
But the most important things: socks, underwear, and a toothbrush.
And deodorant.
You will need that, and everybody around you will appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. Along those same lines, make sure that you have comfort items with you because there will be delays inevitably during the holidays. You're going to run into a delay somewhere, some way, whether you're waiting in line at a store or you're waiting in line at the airport. There is going to be a delay. So make sure you have those AirPods or earbuds with you. Make sure you have, if you have a Nintendo Switch, something like that for the kids or for yourself, make sure you have all of those things, a book to read, because the more things you have that are comfort items, the more relaxed and de-stressed you will be. And it will make the whole process much easier.
And for me, one of my comfort items is my phone, my noise
Yeah.
canceling headsets, those things. Your chargers. It
That's
does it.
huge.
That is huge. And understand that anywhere you go in the world, they're going to have chargers. Sometimes they're great chargers, sometimes they're crappy chargers. But
Sometimes they're expensive chargers.
I could tell you this from personal experience. When I was going to Peru, I thought I packed it. I looked around, and I didn't have my lightning charger. And so I was going through the airport. I was going to pick one up. The same charger that cost $9 at Ross cost me $60 in the Miami
Yes, it
airport. And, it's kind of frustrating because when I got to Peru in the airport in Lima, they had the same charger for about $12.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know. But don't rely
don't
on
know.
that. But don't rely on that. The other thing is they have this whole new wave of solar chargers. Anytime you are on the airplane or in the airport, take advantage of their charging stations. Charge your chargers. But what was that you were telling me about?
Don't use their cords. Use your own cord, because there are ways that hackers are now using the cords to get your information off of your phone or
Okay.
your device, and it's a big thing in airports especially.
Right.
It's a big deal. So be very careful. Bring your own cord. If you can bring your own cube and plug it in somewhere, even better. But definitely your own cord.
And again, those solar panel chargers, I like to just keep one charged all the time. We had a bad thunderstorm here the other night, and if the power goes out, you have that. If you have the
have it.
charger, you have, you still have access to that. And I think our next subject is one of my absolute favorites.
Snacks. Yes, snacks. We're big on that. But it's important. Pack snacks in your bag, your personal bag, the one that you're going to have with you all the time. Because whether you have low blood sugar or you have diabetes or anything like that, just any type of health issue, or even if you don't and you just need a snack to pick you up a little bit, it's nice to have it on you. Sometimes vending machines run out of snacks, especially if you're in a crowded airport and there are layovers and things. They will run out. Or if the quick service restaurants close, things like that. You may not have, snacks available to you. So keep a few on hand. Make sure they're like non-perishable, something easy to get to, easy to eat, doesn't make a huge mess.
Put them in your Ziploc bags, as always.
Yes, we're big on the Ziploc bags. They're so handy. And especially the freezer bags, because they're very sturdy and things in your bag won't poke through them as easily. So that's very helpful. And just, grab a few, crackers, granola bars, anything like
Beef
that.
jerky.
Yes, beef jerky.
Did you pick up my beef jerky today?
I did pick up your beef
Okay,
jerky
good deal.
today.
All right, good deal.
But it's really important, especially if you have children.
Another
Snacks on hand.
another thing to make sure, we love the liquid IV. We love the mix in drink packet, all of those things. Keep those on hand also. And I was going to mention this, and I think I mentioned this to you. On my last trip, whenever I was in the airport for the first time ever, when I went to the gate, we actually had security, and we had to check. We had to go in the gate security. So we're actually at the gate waiting for the plane. And once you go in there, you're in plexiglass and you can't come out. And so in America, we get very, we're going to go grab this snack, or we're going to go grab this energy drink or power bar or whatever. We're just going to run across the street and across the, what am I looking for? The aisle and grab something in the store. But once you get in there, you're not allowed to. And I didn't realize that. But the good thing is I had 2 sticks of beef jerky, one for me and one for my buddy that I was traveling with.
Yeah. And speaking of traveling like through an airport, this is something you were talking about the other day, is traveling with gifts.
Yeah,
That
and
was a big one.
And one of the things that I think that a lot of people should do is, if you're traveling to your your parents, and you're going to take a plane or whatever, they live far away, go ahead and ship the gifts for, like, any cousins or brothers and sisters' kids. Instead of trying to pack them all on the plane and get there, just ship it in a box, tell them to wait, that way you could wrap them, you could do whatever.
Yeah.
And you're not having to worry about getting them through security, putting them in the big check bag, going and get them.
Check bag possibly getting lost or delayed.
And then
the gifts are lost.
Then having upset nieces and nephews because they don't have their gifts.
Yes. And one thing that you can actually do, get a head start on it.
Right.
Ship a little here and there. And then maybe grandma and grandpa can hold on to them for you till you get there, stick them in a closet somewhere. And that way you're not incurring the whole expense at one time. Ship a box every month. Oh. And that can save you some money, without having to do it all at once.
Right. Good deal.
And that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Remember, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Leave us a comment. Tell us where you're going for the holidays. We need some different ideas for travel. And remember, drop us a line. We're on social media. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. We're on all of those. Broke Teachers Travel. And we have a website, BrokeTeachersTravel.com. So be sure to check that out. And follow along. Get in on the conversation. We love to talk travel.
Oh, speaking of holidays, we've got a giveaway coming up.
Yes, we do.
And whether you're an international...
Keep following along. It's coming up.
Whether you're an international traveler, a Disney fan, whatever.
Epcot fan.
It is pretty cool. So,
yes.
Just keep tuned in.
Absolutely. And remember, break the monotony.
Not the bank.
Bye, guys.
Have a great week.